we go. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Rob, let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we approach you at this time, humbly, Father, just thankful and on bended knee, realizing your greatness and our smallness. We're thankful for your many blessings, physical and financial and health-wise we have. And Father, we realize there's a lot of mourning going on because of the things in Texas. We pray that you be with the families that have been devastated by all of that, and guard their hearts and their thoughts, their minds, Father, and through all that process. And may they, Father, find some peace in you and in all of that, and just a devastating situation. Father, we're grateful for all those who do rush into harm's way and are the helpers around here, and we're thankful for those who show up and give of themselves, their time, their mental and physical energies to help others and to put a bright spot in dark situations. Father, thank you for the Rotary Club, for the work that does locally and around the world. We pray that your blessings be upon it. Father, in all things, we give you praise and glory for all good things. That's our prayer through your Son's name.
All right, Fred, what do you got?
We just celebrated Memorial Day. Because of the brave, we live in the land of the free. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty of the ISO. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty of the IC. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrims' pride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring. Thank you.
Fred. All right. The new microphone that we have is wonderful, but it's very loud. I'll work on that. Allergies. So I'm trying to get it adjusted without blowing everybody out of the room, but then not having a bunch of feedback. So welcome to our June 1st meeting of the Brazil Rotary Club. We've got a lot going on. We're like days away from the kickoff of our celebration. It starts this month, which is crazy cool, crazy busy. But before we get into our big long list of announcements and everything, we have to welcome a few guests to the room. So let's start. They're already looking at me back there. Colton and Kaysen are back there.
We've got Colton and Kaysen again.
Heather's got a few guests with her today.
I've got Zechariah, Marie, and my husband, Joseph.
Welcome. Donnie, you got some guests?
I got my wife Marlene with me and my granddaughter. I'll share a little odd story with you. I was with Leela here a while back, and her granddaughter was with her. And Leela said, I would never talk to my grandmother. And so my granddaughter's name's Hazel, which is named after my grandmother. And I had problems scolding her and disciplining her. And so I call her Marlene.
Well, welcome. Any other guests today? I don't think so. Right? Are we good on guests? Did I get everybody? All right. Well, who's happy or excited about anything that we got going on in the world or in your own personal life? Rob, he's ready to go.
Oh, I am ready to go. So, in scouting, I have one child that moved up to the second class rank. It's very close to first class, but moved up to second class, and another that has moved into what's called Star, and then the order is Star, Light, and Eagle. He does not physically have enough time because you got to hold ranks for so many months, so he does not have time to make it to Eagle, but he is it's achieved Star, and it looks like he's definitely going to get Light in before his time runs out. So that's my happy buck for rank advancements.
Awesome. Steve.
Yeah, I got a happy buck. I sold them all.
All right. Wonderful. He needs to go get more tickets now, so.
I made
6 more tickets. Anybody got 6 tickets they can loan Steve there? Who else is happy or excited about something? Yes, Miranda.
I took the girls to Chicago over Memorial Day weekend to see Coldplay in concert, and it was amazing.
You're like the 8th person I know that was at that concert this weekend, so a lot of people went up there. That's fun. Who else is excited about something? Yes, Peggy.
I leave on vacation tomorrow morning at 5, although it will not be on a cruise ship because our cruise ship caught on fire last week.
Yeah, we saw that.
But we're just gonna go and hang out in John's Pass and then see my parents. So, excited for that.
All right, have fun down there. Anybody else excited about something? We snagged a last-minute camping spot down at Shakamak this last weekend, so we got to hang out away from a lot of people, but then really close to a lot of other people. So it was a nice little getaway. Got to tune into the 500 and then the Coke 600, so 1,100 miles of racing for us on TV on Sunday, and it was a very long day because the Coke 600 didn't get over until after midnight. So it was a pretty fun race day for our family. Announcements. Dave brought forward some information regarding advertising for the 4th of July. So we need to have a quick little board discussion, and Marianne, you might want to be in on that as well because it involves 4th of July regarding newspaper and radio ads and whatnot throughout the community. We did have a 4th of July meeting last week. It was our last one, kind of officially, unofficially, before we kick off out at the park, kind of tying up some loose ends on that. So just be aware, in a couple weeks we will have a meeting scheduled here on our regular Wednesday meeting, kind of discussing what the obligations and responsibilities are during the actual time at the park. Make sure we're all on the same page and all understand the same message about, why that carnival is chosen to come in, who decides the food booths, all these fun things. Because when we're out at the park and we have our yellow shirts on, the community just sees the yellow shirt and they think they can come up to us and complain and rant and ask us any question, which they can, but we need to make sure that we all kind of have the same message and the same answer for everybody. So we're going to spend some time in a couple weeks talking about the why, what, how, and everything. Now today we did get an email, and I think there are paper copies here of kind of the schedule when you can and cannot work for the 4th of July. Please fill that out as thoroughly as possible. Be extra clear on any special requests that you have, because when the team kind of takes that back, I say the team, when Alicia takes that and kind of compiles everything and tries to schedule all those spots. I think on the spreadsheet it was like 100 and some plus shifts that need to be worked throughout the event. The more detailed you are, the easier it's going to be to kind of place people where they need to be. Now remember, once the schedules are produced and you have your schedule and you find out last minute, hey, something's come up and I cannot work my shift, it's good to let maybe myself and Alicia know, but it is your responsibility to find a replacement for your shift. We know life happens. We know life gets in the way sometimes. That's why I wasn't here last week, because life kind of got in the way. But it is your responsibility to find a replacement. We'll go over that more in depth here in a couple weeks when we use that particular meeting to go over all the details. Any other announcements or special requests for the club? Yes, Rob.
Just a thought, if someone does come up and complaining about and dissatisfied with something, the easiest answer is see Andrew Bowman.
Be like, I'm not the president, I don't know.
That's not my deal.
I thought he was going to say just put it on Brazil Chatter.
Brazil Chatter is actually the appropriate steps to getting anything solved. So. Stephanie's got something probably about shirts.
Yes, I'm ordering shirts today, so if you need one, please order it because it takes them a while to get here.
You got that? If you need a shirt, order it today. Let her know. Yes, Roger.
We won't be here next week because we will be camping at Bower Park. And I do have the whole park full of vintage campers again, and it's all free to come in and see. Bower Park,
What are the dates of that?
9, 10, 11.
Okay. Yeah, it is. My old one looked
Yes,
old enough, but it was.
The year was 1979, and we'll have 70s, 60s, and 50s, and maybe a 40.
Maybe. Awesome.
We will be in a 1962.
Good deal. Now, does it have air conditioning?
Yes, it does. New air conditioning.
How legit is that, though? See.
Shouldn't be allowed to run it.
Right. Any thing else for the club? So I do have one more thing, then we'll have Peggy come on up. A couple weeks ago, I was at a board meeting for a totally different non-Rotary thing. It was for the Lawn Care Association. And we have a law firm that works with the folks up in the legislator's office to kind of make sure that the bills that are passed relating to our workforce, sales tax, lawn care stuff kind of are appropriate for our industry and everything. So we're sitting there and they're talking about, Indiana is such a super majority Republican and we don't have, any play on the aisle there. It's, but don't think that since they're all Republicans that they're all going to get along, they're going to butt heads. And then he started talking about how in Indiana we've lost some really good Democrat legislators. And then he's going down the list and the second name on his list was Dave Crooks. And I'm like, I know him. So it was really fun to be up in a meeting for the Lawn Care Association and our, for lack of a better term, our lobbyists were saying some good things about Dave being in the legislature, and they said that they missed Dave in the legislature. So
Because I want more crooks in the legislature.
if you've got some people that miss you there, Dave. So, but it was kind of cool that in an Indianapolis setting, somebody, that was back when Dave served a different district. But it's cool to hear Rotarians' names brought up in other settings around the state. So.
Can't make me go back.
So yeah, good things about Dave. Saying he was easy to work with.
You got your rate on your radio ads now, all this campaign.
Hey, I'm working to get that political rate on my radio ad there. So.
Dave was one of the good ones. What does that say about all the rest?
You took the punchline, Rob. So, Peggy, without further ado, welcome. Peggy Michaels on up.
Most of you know, I'm Peggy Michaels. I am the director of the daycare over here at First Christian Church. We are in full swing now for summer with all of our summer kids out. And we run about 120, 130 a day. So I went and bought milk today at Kroger and Walmart, and I cleaned out everything they had, and people always think that's really funny. Oh, you just need a cow. They just love to tease me about that. But we have a lot of kids, we have a lot of fun, and that basically takes up most of my time between that and my family. And so going on to family, my guest today is the new executive director of community corrections here in Brazil. He's been in the Department of Corrections, I think, for probably 8 years about. I've known him for 9 years. He's a pretty good guy. We like him. But I just asked him to come give us a little overview of what community corrections does for our county and like what his plan is and insight is for the future. So his name is Jordan Forker, and he's also my son-in-law.
Hello everybody, I'm Jordan. Like Peggy said, I'm the new director over at Community Corrections. I started in March. I have the pleasure of having a boss that is Emily Clark, so I have a pretty good support system over there. So a little bit of background about me. I did marry Peggy's daughter. I'm very blessed with that. Before that, I went to school at Kentucky Christian University, and then that's where I met Taylor. And then I moved here and started in the DOC in 2014. I worked there almost 8.5 years. I'm actively I'm involved in sports. Actually just accepted a position at Northview coaching varsity football. I was at South Putt before that. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Community Corrections and what we do there as soon as I get the computer going. As soon as it connects to the Wi-Fi.
There's no Wi-Fi in here.
I brought mine, so we're good.
So while we're waiting, how is Peggy as a mother-in-law? I mean, you can tell us privately, we won't say a word.
Yeah.
She's great.
Just be honest.
I tell you what, she has a lot of patience for me. I'm not always the best person to deal with, but I'm sure she's saying yes.
Hey, who gave $2? Just recently? No, I had yours. Oh, okay.
Probably no cell signal in here either, you know.
We got it. It's going now.
Right up next there, can you hold it by the window for in there? Try to get some
I
signal?
can.
Can you do that?
We're on. I'm connected. So at Clay County Community Corrections, we have a vision and a mission statement. The vision of Clay County Community Corrections is to successfully divert nonviolent adult and juvenile offenders from incarceration at the state level through electronic home detention, which is a GPS monitor system, and intense supervisor through our case management, education programs, and the community transition program. Community transition program is when they go to prison, they become eligible, they come out of prison. It's kind of like a introduction to community. And then our mission is to promote successful reentry of offenders into the community to create positive personal changes in the lives of participants and reduce recidivism rates by utilizing evidence-based practices. Evidence-based practices, some things that we go through is there's 8 criminologic needs: environment, background, your social life, substance abuse, education, things like that. I'm going to talk about a little bit about our staff. I supervise 3 staff members at Community Corrections. The first one is Evan Sutherland. He's been there 13 years of dedicated service. He also is a Clay City deputy. I worked in the DOC almost 8.5 years, some as an officer, and worked side by side with officers. And Evan is one of the most cool-headed individuals I've ever met. He's out in the field doing home visits, and he does a great job, because not always is our clients the best people to deal with. Rick Lewis is our case manager. He's been there 12 years of dedicated service. He's very knowledgeable. He's helped me in training. I know you trained your supervisor, which is kind of weird, but he knows a lot about community corrections. And then he's a military veteran, and he also is a local business owner. And then the last one is Samantha Backfish. She's been there 6 months. She's a mother of 3, and she's very active in the community and churches. Some people don't really understand what home detention is, so I'm going to go through like what the best way I can explain it. So home detention is an alternative to imprisonment. So if a client or an offender breaks the law, they get sentenced. Instead of them going to prison, the judge sentences them to home detention on behalf of the DOC. So they get a DOC sentence, but it's modified to home detention. Usually we do low or moderate risk offenders. Sometimes we have high. And only sentencing judge can impose the home detention. The perk for the community, and I see is the very big highlight of it, is the cost of incarcerating an offender at the state level, which is our tax dollars, is $52.61 a day. There's over 20,000 offenders incarcerated in Indiana. And then at the county level, the average is $38 a day to hold an offender at the county level. We charge the offender $12.50 a day, so it costs the taxpayers no money, and for them to be on our program, they pay us $87.50 per week, and that includes all. So we're very self-funded, and we get a DOC grant, so all that money pays for everything that we have, basically. So not only does it save you money, but it's also a very positive reinforcement of getting individuals that are out in the public, but also doing programming while they're trying to do their own thing. I see it at DOC. You see a lot of things I call fake it till you make it. Well, out in the real world, you can't fake it. It's either do or die. So I tell the offenders, it's on you to make the change. Inside prison, you get 3 meals a day. You're an offender or a staff member holding you accountable every day. Here, it's on you, and we help you along the way. The next thing is some other programs that we supervise through Clay County Community Corrections is the drug screen program. People that are assigned to probation go through a drug screen probation if they have an addiction or some kind of illness that they need help with the drug screen. So basically, we supervise offenders come in, we monitor drug screens and things like that. We also do the community service program, which I recently took over. One of the biggest reasons why I took the job is because I want to be involved in the community. I grew up in a very small town of Ohio. In Ohio, I've never been to Indiana until I got married. But Brazil reminds me a lot of my hometown, and I made it mine, and I want to make it better. That's one of my goals. That's why I applied for the job. Sober Link and alcohol program. Basically, I could have brought some things, but basically it's a blow device. And we monitor. They get text messages or a call from the probation officer saying, hey, you need to go ahead and test, and it directly comes to us. So we monitor them that way. Day reporting, we don't use it as much. Basically, day reporting is what it is. They're sentenced to day reporting from the judge. They come in every day, check in with us, and then go about their day. And then obviously the community transition program, which I talked about earlier. And one of the things that I enjoy, because I love dealing with adolescents, is the COPE program, and I'm also in charge of that. Basically what that is it's an alternative for kids getting suspended from school. They go to the Cumberland Academy over at Northview for half the day, and the second half of the day they do community service within the Brazil and Clay County. I enjoy that part because I love dealing with adolescents and talking to them and guiding them, and we have great staff that do that that assist over at the school. It's kind of a wake up for kids at school. I was a troubled adolescent. I didn't always make the best decisions. So every time I have them come in, I tell them, I wasn't always perfect, but it's what you make of it. And here I sit, and you could do something positive too. The bigger picture, like I said, I'm very passionate about the community. It took me a while to move, get acclimated to Brazil. I always wanted to see myself moving back home. But the reason we stayed is because of Peggy and David, not because they made us, because they were our backbone and support, and we needed that to build our family. So we're at Clay County Community Corrections. One of the things I implemented from the get-go is we want to get involved in the community. Recently, we did the highway cleanup in front of Northview as a staff on Earth Day. It wasn't planned. I didn't even know it was Earth Day. And one of our probation officers says, "Hi, I see what you're doing. You're trying to look good in your first month." And I was like, "I didn't even know it was Earth Day, but I'll take it." And then most recently, the DOC monitors our grant, and we have to have goals. So the goals that I submitted for our grant is that each staff member get involved in the community and donate their own time outside of their regular office hours and do 24 hours of community service within the year. So whatever that is that they choose to do, because we are a community entity, I like to see them get involved. So that's the bigger picture that we want to do. We want to be a bright spot in the community, not the sore eye that everybody thinks corrections is. So that's it. That's all I got. Anybody have a question? Sure, go ahead.
What did you do for DOC before community corrections?
I started as an officer, and I worked night shift until I graduated, finished college. And then I promoted a caseworker in 2016, and then case manager in 2020. I overseen the restricted housing units. So I did all the daily duties down there, and also ran the PLUS program, which is our purposeful living units serve. It's a program that they get time cut for. It's a rehabilitation, one of the evidence-based practices programs that the DOC offers.
Awesome.
And I was also on the K-9 team there. I was there on K-9 for 4.5 years. Yeah.
My neighbor is Terry France.
Yeah, he's one of our Coke guys.
Yeah. What's he get the kids from the schools and
Yep.
takes them around?
Yep. He's the one that picks them up from school. Terry just recently retired. He's going to run off into the sunset. He's done. But he did great. I believe he was there for like 12 years, and did all the afternoon stuff for Coke.
What kind of community service do the youth do?
So they do a lot of trash cleanup. They do park cleanup. They've done stuff at the Humane Shelter. They've done stuff for the school. That's just the most recent things that they've done. What I would like to implement for next year is, the school pays people to do things, cleaning, mowing, things like that. I would like to see implement that, but that's for a future thing. But you're suspended from school. Let's do something positive for the school. So, but other than that, they do other things throughout the community. They clean the courthouse. They do city parks, things like that.
You said that folks who are detained at home pay you. How does that work?
So part of their sentencing is, say they get sentenced to home detention, and we charge them $12.50 a day. We have a system, it's called Insight, that we keep all their information, all their payments. And basically they come in, our Thursday is our busy day. We're open from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. And that's the day they come in and do their schedules, and most of the time that's when they do their payments for the week. And we take money orders or debit card and sometimes cash. So it's directly out of their pocket.
So you're required to be employed?
Yep. We have terms and agreements. One of them that has to be employment unless they collect unemployment, of course. There's 22 terms and agreements. They're not allowed to drink. They're not allowed to, obviously, drugs. They have to participate in some sort of programming, which we offer programming at community corrections. They also do community service. A lot of our clients do the city parks or Humane Shelter. And they're not allowed firearms in the house. They're subject to being searched. It's just like, the way I describe it, it's prison, but on the outside. So they waive their Fourth Amendment to search and everything with our home detention officers and case managers. It's just that they go about their everyday business in the community. We help them along the way to hopefully reintegrate them so that they don't have to be on home detention. Sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's not. But I always call it the 80-10-10 rule in prison. It's a little different in community corrections. 80-10-10 is 80% don't care, 10% fake it till they make it, and 10% are actually trying to do the right thing. In my 3 months in community corrections, I don't see the 80-10 here. A lot of our clients are actually trying to do the right thing, which is good, which I feel like is positive for our community. It's a lot different than the prison setting. Sure.
You made a statement that I totally agree with, that it's, look, it's up to you.
Yep.
It's what you make out of it and all that. Coming from a ministry background, you know, we start to see people, and quite frankly, by their raising, by their experiences and all that, they are doing what they know. And what they know may not be real great, and obviously, in your case, it's against the law.
Right.
Are there counselings or things?
Yeah, so we offer lots of programming. Obviously, there's the Hamilton Center, and we have a program that is contracted through Community Corrections. It's called Choices. They do MRT classes, which is basically a book that they go through. It's kind of a self-reflect. The biggest thing that I've seen in my career in DOC and now in Community Corrections is that your environment makes you who you are. So monkey see, monkey do. And removing you and breaking that cycle is the key. Not saying you're not going to relapse, not saying you're not going to make the right decisions, but learning from those. I always tell the offenders, I taught a class called Second Chance. Basically, our offenders that got in trouble, got conducts, they came to me to become program eligible, and I put them through a 90-day course. And one of the biggest, I asked them 2 questions. If I was walking in Indianapolis and I bumped into you, what's your reaction? And most of them were saying, you got a problem. I said, well, you know, most people think, excuse me, I'm sorry. So their mentality has to change. And then if I beat my head off a wall 300 times, on 301 I split it open, at what point did I learn my lesson? When I'm split open, or on the first time I hit my head? So sometimes it takes people a lot of time to change, but we try to get them along the way to do that.
What happens if they break the rule?
So we have a process that we can violate. So there's a plethora of things that could violate you. And then if you get violated, it's up to the judge what he does with you. He can sentence you to the rest of your sentence to prison. He can send them back to us. But usually it's back to prison because we built a case of, hey, we've given X, Y, Z amount of chances. They're not ready. When they're ready, they can come back to us, but they need to go to prison.
Would you say there's a fair amount of psychology that goes along with your job in addition to?
We use a lot of motivational interviewing. We try to get them to think that they made the decision, but we're the ones doing it for them. Because if you tell them what to do, they're going to fight that. They've done, that clientele has always done that. They don't tell me what to do, da, da, da. But if you make them feel like they're making the right decision and they're making the decision, then they'll do it for you. Which, in my DOC experience, it takes a special person to do that, and we have that at Community Corrections. So, they do a lot of the mom versus dad stuff with us, but we communicate very well. So we use a lot of motivational interview with the clients.
Do any of them work with the Inside Out recovery?
No. So there's a program here in Brazil that I don't even know what road it is, but it used to be a nursing home. There's a substance abuse place back there now. They do stuff inside the prison. Now we send them to night classes to do that type of stuff, but it's up to the case manager where they go. We use pro-social events, so volunteering at YMCA is part of their case plan, getting involved at church is part of their case plan, getting involved with non-profits is part of their case plan, to remove them from the group that they've been running with to a more positive group. So that's one of the 8 evidence-based practices that we use is pro-social life. Anything else? Hopefully I didn't bore you. Thank you.
Come on up, Peggy. So Peggy usually takes the picture whenever we do this. As she told me she doesn't have her phone with her. I'm blocked in up here. She doesn't have her phone with her, so she can't take the picture. So I made her come up
Okay.
to present you with our Rotary emblem.
Thanks.
Has our 4-way test on. She was fighting me on that. She's like, there's no way I'm going to.
She loves me.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. All right, quick board meeting to discuss this real quick afterwards. Is there anything else for the good of the club? All right, we'll rise and say the 4-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?